All right, let's jump right in. What if I told you there's a hidden blueprint, a secret architecture that connects the AI on your phone, the global economy, and even the cells inside your own body? I know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but it's a very real, very cutting-edge field of study. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that blueprint, and it goes by a name you are definitely not going to forget: Cybernetic Kittens.
So right off the bat, it sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? A learning AI, a game of chess, a single living cell. I mean, one is pure code, one is all about human strategy, and the other is just messy biology. On the surface, they couldn't be more different. But what's so incredible is that they might all be built from the exact same abstract design. And here it is. This is the big secret. They all share the same fundamental shape that governs how they operate. Now, if we can actually understand that underlying shape, we can do way more than just see a cool connection. We can actually start to predict how these incredibly complex, totally different systems are going to behave. So how in the world do you see a shape that's basically invisible? Well, it turns out you need a special kind of vision, a scientific superpower that lets you look right past all the distracting details and see the deep, hidden structure underneath. And that superpower is abstraction. And that superpower has a name: category theory. Now, don't let the name scare you, okay? At its heart, it's just a new kind of language. It's a type of math that doesn't really care about what things are, it cares about how they relate to each other. You know, the connections, the transformations. It's the perfect tool for mapping out those universal patterns that just keep popping up everywhere once you learn to ignore the surface-level stuff. And here's what that looks like in action. You could stare at the code of a neural network for weeks, right? Or you could use abstraction, zoom out, and see what it's really doing. It's an optimization process. Same thing with a cybernetic system. You can get lost in all the gears and wires, or you can see its core purpose. It's a stability mechanism. It's all about ignoring the what so you can finally understand the why. So, you have this powerful new language, and of course, it's being put to the test in a major research project. A project with a name that, I promise you, you won't be forgetting anytime soon. The mission of the Cybernetic Kittens project is, well, it's breathtakingly ambitious. They are trying to build one single unifying framework that can describe any system that regulates itself. Think about that for a second. That means one set of rules could describe a stock market, a colony of ants, a machine learning model, or a living ecosystem. The whole shebang. So what exactly is a cybernetic system? Well, it really just boils down to three key things. First, it has a two-way street with its environment. It acts and the world acts back. Second, there's some kind of internal controller guiding its choices. And third, its main job, its whole reason for being, is just to keep itself stable and in balance. Okay. I know what you've been thinking this whole time. We're talking about the fundamental blueprints of reality, this massive, universe-spanning theory, and the project is named after kittens? It sounds a little goofy, I know, but there's actually a really great reason for it. The name is basically a nod to the fact that this whole field of research is in a juvenile stage. It's incredibly powerful and it's full of potential, but it's also still young. It's playful. It has a lot of growing up to do. It's kind of the perfect metaphor for a new science that's just starting to figure things out. All right, so we get the theory and we get the funny name, but where is this stuff actually being used? This is where it gets really wild, and we can see that unifying power in action. First up, artificial intelligence. In what they call open learners, that internal controller we talked about is an optimizer. A great example is something called gradient descent. It's the engine that lets most AI learn. You can kind of picture it like a ball rolling down a huge, hilly landscape, always trying to find the lowest possible point. That's what the AI in your phone is doing right now, and it fits into this framework perfectly. But see, the controller isn't always just one algorithm. In game theory, the controller can be a whole group of different players, all making their own strategic moves. And suddenly, the same framework can describe the complex push and pull of an economic market or a tense negotiation where every single person is trying to optimize for their own best outcome. And this is where it just gets mind-blowing. The exact same abstract shape we see in AI and economics also shows up in our own brains. The model's bidirectional, two-way information flow is a dead ringer for how our own cortical circuits are wired up. So you have computer code, financial markets, and our own minds, and it's all the same fundamental pattern. So when you take a step back and you realize there's a single theory that connects artificial intelligence, economics, and the human brain, you have to start asking yourself a pretty big question. Just how far does this thing go?
Are we actually looking at a blueprint for, well, everything?
So let's wrap this up. What are the big takeaways here? Well, first, it seems there really is a hidden, universal structure connecting all complex systems. Second, the Cybernetic Kittens project is building a language using category theory to finally see and describe it. This framework is already bringing together fields from AI all the way to biology, giving us a powerful new blueprint for how our world actually works. What this all really means is that we are on the edge of developing a whole new kind of sight. We're learning to look right past the surface of things and finally see the deep, shared compositional structure that truly wires our world together. And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to think about. See, this isn't just about understanding the world we already have. This is about building the world of tomorrow. If we can truly master this universal blueprint for how things work, what comes next? What incredible new forms of intelligence, or even new kinds of stable societies could we even begin to design?